This is Jared Horak for the RunawayHorse.com, and I'm back to look at the second division of the Arkansas Derby for Saturday, May 2nd. I just did a video for the first division, race 11, and you can watch that one right up there. I have the link if you're interested in that one, or you can go over to my channel to see it. But we're going to jump in and do the second division, race 13. Now, in last week's video, I went 1 for 2. I ended up having Mia Mischief in the Carousel Stakes, and then in the Bachelor Stakes, Echo Town, my top choice, just missed. So let's see if we can get some winners in these Arkansas Derby, both divisions of this week. If you're interested in my full card analysis from Oaklawn, this is closing week at Oaklawn. They're going to run Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, April 30th through May 2nd, and that'll be the end of the Oaklawn Park meet. So Arkansas Derby Day is going to have 14 races, and that will be closing day at Oaklawn. And then after that, I'm going to cover Gulfstream Park, waiting for Santa Anita to open again. I typically cover the full cards from Southern California at the RunawayHorse.com, but since they're not running right now in Southern California due to the coronavirus pandemic, I've switched my full cards to Oaklawn after Santa Anita closed, and now Oaklawn's going to be finishing their meet, and I'm going to switch over to Gulfstream Park to do the full cards beginning Sunday, May 3rd. But if you're interested in any of that, or if you want to see my Kentucky Derby page for updated Kentucky Derby news, blogs, and videos, you can head over to the RunawayHorse.com. I also can cover Kentucky Oak stuff as well. So you can find that stuff over there. But let's jump right into this analysis of the second division of the Arkansas Derby. The Grade 1 Arkansas Derby, $500,000 purse for 3-year-olds, 1 1/8 on the main track. Seems like there's a decent amount of speed in this second division. But one horse that's not going to show speed is the one, Finnick the Fierce. He's 15-1 morning line, and look for him in the late going if he's able to get involved. Martin Garcia, got to know him last time when he actually crossed the line second, but he was placed first through disqualification. And he likes to run late. He was 7th in the Risen Star. He was 4th in the LeCompte. He was 2nd in the Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes last year. So he's one that can run, but he seems to, you look at his form, he seems to like a wet track. Last time on that wet track, he finished a good second. He was placed first. And then in the Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes last year, he was a close second. So he likes that wet track. Doesn't seem quite as good on a fast track, but he should get pace to chase. And if you like him, most likely he's going to fit. If he does run a good race, he's probably going to finish 3rd or 4th. The two, a Saratogian, this one, a son of Empire Maker, and he's a big long shot at 50-1 morning line. Broke his maiden first time out in a 6.5 furlong sprint at Tampa Bay in February. And then last time out, he was 59-1 at Gulfstream Park at 1 mile in an entry-level allowance race, and he tracked the pace, and he weakened to finish 9th. He hasn't done anything to show that he would be a horse of this quality after just 2 starts. It seems like they're kind of throwing him to the wolves here. The 3, Storm the Court. This one, 6-1 morning line with Flavian Prat in the irons. Trainer is Peter Urton. He's had 6 starts with 2 wins and 2 seconds, and his biggest win, obviously, was the Breeders' Cup Juvenile when he upset that race at 45-1. A New Door was second. He was a big long shot, and then Wrecking Crew was third. So all the long shots dominated that one after Dennis's Moment stumbled badly at the start, and then 8 Rings didn't run his race. They were the 2 favorites, and it was dominated by long shots. And prior to that, he was well beaten 3rd in the American Pharoah Stakes, and then he lost his rider in the Del Mar Futurity. But since the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, he's run twice this year. He came back in the 7 furlong San Vicente. He finished an even 4th, was missed 3rd by a neck. And then in the San Felipe Stakes, they stretched him back out, tracked the pace. He finished an okay 3rd behind Authentic and Honor AP. Not a bad effort last time. He's got an inner post with some tactical speed, but he's going to have to improve in his 3rd start of the year. The 4, King Guillermo, this one's a son of Uncle Mo, and he pulled off a big upset last time, winning the Tampa Bay Derby at 49-1. And he was up on the pace that day. The pace wasn't fast. He was out in post 11, so he tracked the pace. He took over, and he just won easily. His other starts, his career debut was a dirt sprint, He didn't do anything in that dirt sprint, and then he ran in 2 turf races, and he ran well. He broke his maiden on turf at 1 mile, and then in the Pulpit Stakes, he was 3rd, which was a solid effort there. And then he really upset the Tampa Bay Derby. The negative here is like the pace was slow in the Tampa Bay Derby, and he tracked that slow pace. The pace is not going to be slow here, so he's going to have to use much more early energy to stay in a good position. And that might hurt his stretch punch at 1 1/8. The 4, Nadal, he's 5-2 morning line, and he is the one to beat for Bob Baffert. Joel Rosario is going to ride, and he's rode him in his last pair. This horse is 3 for 3. all 3 wins this year. He won his sprint debut from the inside post. That was a game victory, won pretty easily, dueling inside. Second time out, he dueled on the lead in the San Vicente. Ginobili gave him a good battle, but he put that one away, and he won by 3/4 of a length. And then in the Rebel Stakes in the slop, he stretched out, shipped to Oaklawn Park, battled on a wicked pace. They were going 22 and change, 46. They were really flying in the mud. He was taking a lot of pace pressure throughout. He turned away all of those pace horses, and then Accession, a late runner, came after him, and he wouldn't let him by either. So if you look at his 3 races, all 3 times he dueled on the lead, he put away the other horses, and he was able to hold on. That does not bode well for the other speed horses because he is a tenacious front runner. He's not going to give up. So a horse like King Guillermo isn't just going to be able to sit right off of him and just go right on by, because Nadal, if he shows up and runs like he did in his first 3 starts, he's going to fight hard throughout, and for the other pace horses, that's going to sap their energy most likely. The 6 in here is Code Runner, a son of Honor Code, and he's 50 to 1 morning line. He's had 8 starts with 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. He has some ability, but I just don't think he has graded stakes ability, at least not at this point in his career. Last time out, Allowance, non-winners 2 lifetime at Houston. He won that one pretty easily from off the pace. But the pace was quick, he didn't come home quick, and he didn't run fast enough to win a race like this. But his last 2 races for Steve Asmussen, he earned his best speed figures. He's certainly on the right path. He's moving forward, but I don't think he's graded stakes quality at this point in his career. The 7, also trained by Steve Asmussen, Silver Prospector, a son of Declaration of War. This one's interesting. He's got 9 starts with 3 wins and 2/3. Sometimes he's just not really shown up. Like in the Rebel Stakes, he made a move. He was sitting back in 6th. He made that move and he just couldn't keep going. He finished 6th by 12. He won the Southwest Stakes prior to that. He sat back in 6th and he won nicely, beating Wells Bayou, who's going to also be in this race, and I'll mention him in a few minutes. And then before that, in the Smarty Jones Stakes in the slop, he didn't, in the mud, he didn't run well. But he handled a wet track in the Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes as my top choice last year when he won that one from off the pace. So he's kind of an in and out sort. Sometimes he shows up with decent efforts, sometimes he doesn't. Now he should get pace help. He'll probably sit a decent trip. It's just a question of which Silver Prospector shows up. If the one from the Southwest shows up, he's a bit interesting at a price. Now the 8 in here, Fast Enough, is going to scratch. He got injured in his final workout for this in Southern California, and so he's not going to make the trip. He's out, and we'll see if he needs surgery or not, but at least he's going to have some rest. But he's out for a bit. I thought, if he was going to run, that he was at least an interesting price player from off the pace, but he's not running. So the 9, Taishan, he's 15 to 1 morning line, a son of Twirling Candy, Richard Baltis. David Cohen is going to ride. In the Oaklawn Stakes last time, he sat in 5th, he made a move to the lead, and then he weakened to 3rd. I'm concerned about the distance. I'm concerned that he's better on a wet track because he ran a decent race in that Oaklawn Stakes on a wet track, and then prior to that, in the slop at Oaklawn, he won by more than 4 lengths at a mile and a 16th, controlling the pace. So he's got some early pressing versatility, but he still hasn't proven that he can beat graded stakes company, because in his other races, in the Sham Stakes, the Southwest Stakes, he was no threat, and then he dropped down into non-graded stakes company last time in the Oaklawn Stakes, and he couldn't hang in there late. I think the distance, and then the combination of the distance, a fast track, and a fast pace, it will lead to his undoing. The 10, Farmington Road, comes off of a big effort in the Oaklawn Stakes. He was my top choice there. He was 6 to 1. They added blinkers. He got plenty of pace help. He rallied from 17 lengths back to finish 2nd by a half. That was a big effort. Prior to that, I picked him on top in the Risen Star, and he ended up a wide 4th. He was wide throughout that day. Mr. Monomoy won that one. Enforceable was 2nd. Silver State was 3rd. He was gaining late. Plenty of stamina here. When they stretched him out to a mile and 40 yards, he broke his maiden. His speed figures in all of his races, all 5 of his races, he's improved his numbers in each race. He's a good closer with plenty of stamina and some pace to chase. And at 12 to 1, he's not the worst long shot. Finally, number 11, Wells Bayou. He's 7 to 2 morning line. He won the Louisiana Derby, going wire to wire, controlling the pace last time out. Start prior to that in the Southwest, he was up on the lead. Silver Prospector ran him down. He was a clear 2nd. He has 2 other victories. He broke his maiden at Keeneland in the slop in a sprint, and then in the mud at Oaklawn earlier in the meet, he won wire to wire. So he's one. If you look at him, he really wants to just go early and get a nice early position. But the problem is more than one horse wants that early position as well. King Guillermo wants to get out there, storm the court, and we have obviously Taishan, I mentioned him, and Nadal doesn't like to give up on the lead. So you have all those horses that have a lot of quality and they have a lot of speed. And this race seems to set up for an off-the-pace type. So if one of the speed horses get loose, that could certainly happen. A horse like Bayou, if he could get loose in here, or he can just track the pace and somehow sit a good trip, he's a logical win threat. Obviously, he has the class. I don't think Taishan, as I said, I don't think he's good enough. Silver Prospector is certainly an upsetter in here. I'm not going to use him as my top choice, but he's one that could upset the field because if he has his mind on running, some of his better races like the Southwest Stakes put him in the mix, and he should get a good pace scenario here. Nadal, the 5, is strictly the one to beat. He looks like the best of the speed. He's not going to quit. And if other speed horses just want to battle with him, they're in deep water. King Guillermo is one that might be vulnerable in here. As I mentioned, he won the Tampa Bay Derby, but the pace was slow with a different pace scenario. A lot of times when the pace figures go up, a horse's final figures go down, and that might happen to King Guillermo in here. He just might get too close to the pace. He'll have to run faster early, then he won't have enough left in the late going. Storm the Court is one that could end up finishing somewhere in the mix with Finnick the Fierce, but I don't really love either of those two. So I think it comes down to Nadal, certainly a win contender. Silver's Prospector is an upsetter. Bayou, I don't love him, but he's capable of winning a race like this. And my top choice, I'm going to make Farmington Road my top choice. I went with him in his last two. Again, the pace scenario favors him. I know he can get a mile in an eighth. I'm not sure that he's going to win. I mean, he's 12-1. I'm not strong on him on top, but I am very strong on him finishing somewhere in the top 3. So I'm definitely going to be using him in exactas and trifectas, trying to get him at least in the money with some of the logical contenders and hope to hit a trifecta. And if he wins, that's fine as well. I hope to have the win bet and an exacta or something like that. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, make some comments in the comment section. Who do you like in this division of the Arkansas Derby? And that will wrap up this week's video. And I'm going to come back next week and I'll update these Arkansas Derbies and I'll do some other stuff. We're going to have a lighter stake schedule until we start getting some tracks getting back in business after this coronavirus pandemic. Hopefully St. Anita, they've been talking to the health inspector. Maybe they'll be able to get back and running within the next few weeks. We'll have to see. But Oaklawn's done, and then I'm going to be covering Gulfstream Park after that. And I'll be back next week to recap these races. So until then, good luck at the races.